Yourself.
Hey, everybody, it's another episode of Go Flix Yourself. My name is Ben Conowitz, and with me, as always, is the Chuck E. Cheese to my Dave and Buster's, Bradford Oman.
Hey, that's me. Come on down and listen to the Chuck E. Cheese Chesters. We're the band.
The Chuck E. Cheese Chesters?
Yeah.
That's unsettling.
Come to the Pizza Explosion party.
Chester Molester over there.
Celebration Station, Nate Laux.
I don't have an impression again. Man, I just suck at that.
To be fair, I don't think the Celebration Station dog ever did anything.
I don't remember.
I also thought he looked vaguely sad.
Yeah, it was like, I'm here putting on a show for you guys, but I don't want to be.
Yeah, like he looked like a show dog.
It was like it didn't get adopted from the shelter, and they had to do that.
To work.
That's what I figured.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, just go see if you can find Celebration Station. It was like a Chuck E. Cheese kind of facility that was located here in the Midwest.
Charles Entertainment Cheese,
yes,
which is his real name.
Entertainment is his middle name.
Literally.
Yeah.
And also, I always remember the gorilla playing the drums at the Chuck E. Cheese band was very creepy.
Yes.
His eyes didn't really close all that good. And so you just look staring at him, and he's staring right at you playing those drums. Like, he's gonna hurt me.
I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Yeah.
It wasn't real.
Welcome to Go Flix Yourself, guys. It's another episode. We're having a great time. We're talking about movies, trailers. We've got a discussion coming up at the end of the podcast because I forgot to write the game. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, we talk about the last movies we've seen. We review trailers. We have some fun. Enjoy some laughs.
Brett, who's
some
the sponsor?
chortles, if you will.
Who's the sponsor this week, buddy?
Well, Ben, let me ask you something.
Okay.
How much do you identify with the Juggalos?
Very closely.
I was really going to try to take it seriously for once in my life and be like, hey, what's your favorite fall season?
Fall season?
I don't know. I'm like, oh, fall. I was gonna yes and, okay?
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna argue. But then that's such a ludicrous question. So ask it again. I'm gonna try again.
Ben, how well do you identify with the Juggalos?
Can't do it.
You can't do it.
Not well.
Are you sure?
I mean, I listened to ICP back in the day.
Oh, who
did you really?
I had the Great Malenko.
No, I did. I saw a documentary on Insane Clown Posse, and like it is a culture of people that I
it's
did
a
not
culture.
know exists.
I don't know. I don't even want to call it a culture.
No, it is.
But it is.
It is, and they love each other.
You know what else they love?
Good for them.
They also love Faygo Pop.
Oh boy!
And today I have a flavor of Faygo that I've never seen before. It's pineapple watermelon with an exclamation point. Pineapple watermelon. And I've never had it before, so I'm gonna pop it open right here, and I'm gonna have a nice little sip of it. I'm gonna pop it open. You hear that little pop of that Faygo soda?
Yeah, it doesn't really sound like it.
It
sounded pretty flat when you opened it.
It's been sitting out for an hour and a half. Let's give it a little sip though. Ready?
Sitting up. Ew. What the fuck was that? Is that how all Faygo sounds? Are you gonna? Oh, don't spit it up.
Is it alive?
No, don't spit it up. Don't spit it up.
Is it alive?
I wasn't expecting that.
It sounded like you let a fly out of the bottle. It sounded like zzz,
the bubbling was like bubbling the side of my lip. Also, here's a surprise that I wasn't anticipating.
It tastes like shit.
No, this doesn't really taste so much like soda pop as it does like vaguely carbonated fruit juice. And it's not because it's old. That's
Faygo. That's what Faygo is, though.
Not all Faygo sodas are like that.
Have you had Faygo before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you a Juggalo?
Because like their grape soda is.
No, you didn't answer the question.
I can't identify.
As a Juggalo?
I don't want to tell people.
Why?
Because they can't know my name.
Is there something wrong with being a Juggalo?
No, but we like to live privately.
No, you don't.
I do.
As a culture? No, you don't.
No. Well, only when we have our Juggalo parties.
Well, thank you so much for listening to Juggalo Corner with Ben, Brad, and Nate.
All right. So we watched movies.
We did, and you know what? I'm caught up.
For real.
I really am.
You didn't watch the last one?
I watched the last one and the first one.
All right. Well, so what did you watch, Ben?
Guys, I watched Silent House.
Yeah.
And
what'd you think?
It was.
Now, what is this movie about?
So, holy shit, this movie is crazy. It's Elizabeth Olsen, pre Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
2012. She plays, I'm gonna assume, a 19 to 23-year-old, like somewhere in
probably
that.
Probably a 20-something.
Definitely not in high school.
Yeah.
Maybe in college, whatever. The whole premise of the movie, and you're right, Brad, it was shot to be like one take. There were a couple of times where you could definitely tell that that's where the cuts were.
When they shot it, they did do the entire movie in a single take, but they did have some things that they had to like stitch together occasionally because it didn't quite work perfectly.
Yep.
But That's to be expected when you're trying to shoot
And
80
I knew
minutes.
that because you said that. I knew that going in, so I could identify the two scenes that happened. But it's very actually well done, very well shot, and that means that the acting is incredible. I don't know how many times they had to take these takes, but good lord, it was.
And so, what is it about?
So it's great.
So go on. What is it about?
Sorry. So it is a film about Elizabeth Olsen's character. It starts off at some sort of lake house that's been abandoned, boarded up, or whatever, and she's there with her father and her uncle and they're probably in their 40s ish. Maybe the younger uncle is probably in his 30s. The dad's probably in his mid 40s. And they're clearly
so like my age.
Yeah, maybe a little older. They're boxing up the house to get rid of everything, and all the kids in the neighborhood have really smashed the glass, so all the windows are boarded up. So you got a boarded up house that they're going through to sell, and it's a little creepy because it's a horror movie, so they leave her alone in a few rooms because they're going other places, and she hears something moving, and you're like, "Oh, what's that?" And yeah, so it is a little bit like that. And then a friend stops by from back in the day, and she's like, "Oh my God, Jessica, how are you?" I don't know the name. "Hey, Jessica, how are you?" And she doesn't Elizabeth Olsen's character does not remember her at all. I can't even think of her. And the woman hugs her and is like, "Oh my God, we need to hang out again. It's so good to see you that you're back at the house." And that was really weird. Right off the bat, we were making fun of the film because it was overtly weird. The Elizabeth Olsen's character is like the dad. When they have this interaction, it's almost flirtatious. And I'm like, it was poorly acted. And I'm like, this is just bad acting. Like the dad shouldn't be acting that way. The uncle shouldn't be acting that way, because it's just weird that you would be like, you're basically hitting on the actress playing the daughter, right? Is how I felt. So we're watching this movie and it's just silly. And so I'm over at Liz and Jim Bernanke's house and we're watching it with the kids. And so we're sitting there watching this movie with two teenage boys, 15 and 17, and just the 15-year-old boy. The other boy was at work. And so Liz and Jim are there. We're watching it, Bailey and I, going around, haha, no big deal. And then I guess spoiler alert, it turns out that she has these repressed memories because her father and her uncle used to make her take photos and do things sexually.
Whoa. You just turned the movie.
Yeah. It was fucking crazy.
Who recommended this film to you?
Bradford. What the fuck is this movie? It was so jarring and
it doesn't
weird.
have a great Rotten Tomatoes rating, but you like this film?
It's good. It's
not good.
It's good.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's fine as far as that, but it's such a weird premise and movie.
Yes.
But it's I don't know, man. I'm still kind of on the fence with it because I just don't know how to take it.
Did the horror part of it work for you?
No, I think that's the part. I think if it was actually just about that realization and it was not having to do with a demonic element or whatever it ended up being, it would have been a much better movie.
I mean, that's the idea though, is it uses horror as a way of creating the metaphor for that trauma, for the thing that happened.
I get that, but that part was not done very well.
I don't know. I liked the way. First of all, I thought it was very impressive the way that the movie was shot.
That is impressive as hell.
And I think Elizabeth Olsen is good in it, and so I liked that approach to it of using real horror as a starting point for that, and that meshes with something that feels paranormal.
Don't make it laugh out loud silly. The interactions between the dad and the uncle and the daughter within the first 10 minutes of the film. Then let it build a little bit, because the fact that dad bumps into the younger, and it was "Oh, hey, sweetie, I'm so sorry about that." And it was what the fuck is it? It was so hilariously off-putting that I was either he's fucking her, or
I'm more concerned that you laughed about it. That just maybe it's
the group of us were who made this movie? This is so stupid. Why would they cast it like that?
Or maybe it's meant to be like that because then it becomes creepy.
No, then it's hitting you over the head so hard with it that it's laughable, and that's not a good movie.
So is the dad supposed to be creepy though? Is that the part of it? Is the dad and the uncle, they're just creeps? Yeah,
they are. They clearly have. There's a bunch of Polaroids that are in the house that she eventually finds that are her when she's she's clearly mentally blocked it out.
Yeah, so that's part of that's part of where they're going, right?
But they don't need to. In my opinion, you don't start off there right off the bat. Let it grow a little bit. But man, right, the first interaction between the uncle and the daughter would have been he says "Wow, you've really grown up. And it's like that right off the bat. You're like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? It was too heavy-handed.
So you would prefer it if they take their time and like it's like taking like a
slow burn. Yeah, honestly, there's more. And I sometimes I'm against slow burn movies, but this is a case where I'm like they went way too fast with it.
It's a short movie.
Okay. Anyway, overall, it was a fine movie. I think the premise is great. I think the technical aspect of it is great. I think Elizabeth Olsen is amazing.
She's a great actress.
There's a lot there that just could have been done better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the big thing too is the script. You just didn't like the script of it.
So I just didn't like. I get the metaphor of having the actual horror.
It doesn't sound like you did.
No, I get it. I get it. I don't like it. There's a lot to talk about there, but it's fine. It's fine.
What did Bailey think?
Same thing. We were like, why was it so in your face right off the bat that they were sexual towards the dog?
Yeah,
it was just really weird.
It's a good question to see if the film hits differently with women,
Also, so I will say this: we're watching it with mixed company. So like, there's a 50-year-old kid in the room, and so you do kind of want to make fun of it a little bit because you're like, this is awkward.
Oh, so you use it as a moment to like try and be funny and like be the cool guy in the room and not actually watch the movie.
Classic Conowitz.
Classic Ben here.
No, we all did.
Yeah.
Jim was joking around. Bailey was making some jokes.
So maybe you didn't watch this in the best environment where you could really like actually like appreciate the movie rather than just be dicks about it.
No, I think that they made some poor choices.
Speaking of the best environment, I watched the film and you guys were like, well, you can't watch it when it's light out and you can't watch it when other people are in the house.
Well, it's just more fun.
And you can't watch it. It literally could only watch it at 2:00 at night if my kids were staying over at somebody's house.
I like to point out Ben was the one who made all of those rules. I just said they were probably good suggestions. You watch a movie however you want to, unless it's Ben's way, which was wrong.
I watched Paranormal Activity, and it's about paranormal activity.
When did you watch it?
2 nights ago.
Was it those parameters? Were you alone?
No, I'm a dad. I'm never alone. Like my kids are there all the time.
Were they sleeping?
Yeah. I wouldn't want.
What time was it?
It was late. I mean, it wasn't 2:00 in the morning.
Did you turn the lights off?
No.
Oh. All right. Well, because I cheated a little bit. But what'd you think? What'd you think?
So, I think this film clearly. I could see where this film clearly 15 years ago was probably better. And I don't mean that it was bad now, but like there are some things that have aged on this film, right? Yeah. And not in a like classic age way. Like it's just it didn't hit probably in a way that it probably would have if I saw it in the theaters, because I understand when I watched it why this would have hit in a really radical, awesome, scary way. Let me say this too. I don't believe in ghosts.
Whoa, what?
Until I hear a floor creak in my house, and then I do. So this
I don't believe in ghosts until I do.
Yep. Until there's some noise.
Can I ask you a real question? If you do hear an honest to goodness noise in the middle of the night, is your first inclination that someone's in the house?
Okay.
Or is your first inclination that's just a weird sound, I'm gonna go back to bed?
I live in a 170-year-old house, and so
there are ghosts everywhere.
There are true story. We're getting ready to buy our house. We're looking at our house second time. A neighbor comes over to our realtor, pulls them to the side, very concerned about again.
Do they know about the murders?
Wait.
What?
So our house at one point, our house is very old, one of the oldest houses in LaPorte, and back in the day that it was built, you used to do funerals in your actual house. And so it has a parlor that was specifically built for funerals of the family and people that live there, right?
Oh my God.
So the neighbor.
Wait, okay, hold on. What do you use that room for now? Is it the kids' playroom?
Nope.
Is it the child's playroom?
There's a TV in there that we don't typically use. It is just kind of
it just flickers on at 3 a.m. and it says, "Where are you?"
I gotta get to the best part. So the neighbor comes over, and I still don't even know which neighbor it was, because partially I think they just didn't want us to move into the house. I don't know, but they tell the realtor, they say, "Hey, I want you to know this. This house is haunted."
Oh my God.
And again, they can buy it. It's fine. We just know that the sellers aren't going to tell them of the things that we have seen in this house.
Oh my God.
And what were those things?
I don't know.
They didn't tell you?
Well, no. I mean,
Why?
they talked to my realtor, not
So
to
why
me.
didn't they tell you after the fact?
I didn't want to know. I just wanted to buy the house and then like sleep with a wife.
You are the classic dad from every horror movie.
Yeah, you're
know about it.
Craig
and
T. Nelson here.
Still have your kids moving into the house, and it's like, get out! It's the wind.
And this is how
Honey,
the movie starts.
We put our entire life savings into this house, and just a couple of spirits that are the spooking you. And yeah, little Jimmy hasn't slept for 4 days or closed his eyes, but that's fine.
It's been fine so far. So like one day I walked into my son Finn's room and he was crawling on the ceiling. but it was odd. I don't even know which neighbor told her. She's like, so the realtor comes in and says, I know this is weird, guys. I do want to tell you this just because, again, they told me this. I think it's funny. I think it's weird. But a neighbor did just come up to me and tell you that they've seen people in the house, in the windows, when people aren't there.
Yeah, just squatters.
And again, the house is 170 years old. These kind of things. So
Has anything weird ever happened?
no.
You don't sound too convincing when you say that.
No, they told me I can't say.
Who's they? The ghost?
The ghost. So overall, Paranormal Activity. What did you think about the found footage aspect of it?
Okay, it's fun. It is fun. I'll say it's more fun than scary. Because again, I kind of knew a little bit of what this film is about beforehand. It was such a big film. It was made for $15,000.
Yeah. It premiered at the Slam Dance Film Festival, which is like an offshoot of Sundance, where there's like even more low budget movies.
What's really interesting is it was it was made for $15,000. A studio bought it. I forget, Paramount or somebody bought it.
Yes, Paramount.
And they immediately invested $200,000 in redoing the ending.
Yeah.
So, which is again the scene of the guy being thrown up against the.
Whoa!
Spoilers.
It's a 2007
but
movie,
it's the
guys.
end of the movie.
I will not go into.
I spoiled the end of
I know
the movie just like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, but like that movie is smaller.
And so I enjoyed the film. I did. It was a good film to watch for Halloween time.
This was the
scary horror time. It's not supremely acted, quite frankly. It's not like it's not the best horror film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I can understand. I read that Steven Spielberg, when actually watching this film before it released or anything, had to actually stop it. And then, because he was watching it at night, and stop it and actually watch the rest of it in the morning because he was actually scared watching it.
Brad, how about you, buddy? What's the last movie you saw?
No, well, so first of all, I want to say Paranormal Activity, like you said, it sparked like a whole new movement of found footage movies. Like Blair Witch Project came around, and
That was before, though, right?
Yeah, that was in
1997,
99, I think.
99.
And that didn't kick off as big of a craze of movies like that as you might expect. But Paranormal Activity came around at a time when it was easier to do digital movies on the cheap like that, where it didn't matter if it was low quality video because you were trying to make it look like it was footage that was shot on a cheaper camera, whether it was a phone.
That was almost a hard thing for me because it really is. It's not like a professional film.
Yeah, they're like they're security cameras and they're
shaky,
camcorders. Yeah,
and
so but it added a realm of realism.
I understand why somebody thought it was real.
And so there were a lot of crappy copycats that came out after this. Even the Paranormal Activity sequels were never really quite as good as the first one.
15 of them.
But I so in the series though, I'm a fan.
Oh yeah,
I like why I've seen them all.
Yeah, same here.
And if a new one comes out, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
they're fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Oh, by and large.
Is it Cloverfield? Is Cloverfield one of these found footage films?
The first one was
It wasn't the first found footage film, but the first Cloverfield.
No, but I'm just talking about the genre of found footage films.
Yeah. So because Cloverfield actually
Chronicle.
Yep, Cloverfield came out like a year after Paranormal Activity, I think. But so interestingly enough, Paranormal Activity. So this isn't really a humble brag, but it kind of is.
Come on now.
When Paranormal Activity came out, I was living
Look at Nate. You've told me the story 9 times.
Have I told you this story?
Yeah, 9 times.
I was living in Los Angeles, and me and Sarah Gurecki, we were living together, and we were going to the movies, and we got a thing. Like if you go to theaters in Los Angeles, sometimes this happens in Chicago, but it's usually in the major markets. they have like focus group testings for movies where they'll be like, hey, do you want to come see this movie? You know, it's like sometimes they'll tell you what it is. Sometimes they'll say it's being described as this meets this, you know, and they want to see what audiences think about it. And so we got this thing for this invite, and like we were told what the movie was, and like Sarah likes scary movies, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's go check it out, because it was going to be on the Paramount lot, and I was like, yeah, let's, you know, do this. So we get there and we find out what it is. They tell us, you know, it's Paranormal Activity. It's this movie that played at Slam Dance, got a lot of buzz after it was picked up, and so we see it in a theater on the Paramount lot, and they actually. It's the kind of screening where they have cameras set up in the theater, like, you know how they have the night vision shots of the audience being scared out of their minds and everything. That's what they use the screening for. And so if you watch the first trailer for Paranormal Activity, you will see me walking into the theater in night vision, and also a couple like reaction shots of, you know, of people like me in the theater as well. Nate is unimpressed.
Is that not impressive?
No, I'm super impressed. That was my impressive
Neither
silence.
was I. Okay, the movie.
I hate you so much.
I'm just fucking up.
But
no, that's a really cool thing.
Once,
obviously.
and honestly, what was cool though is because like I wasn't anticipating it like turning into this huge thing, but
Sure.
it became a fucking huge
Was
movie.
it genuinely
And that
terrifying for you?
No, it was very. So Sarah, she likes horror movies, but she gets so scared by them for like a good week or two after the movie. She was like, she didn't
freaked out.
Yeah, she was freaked out. Like she was very scared by it.
And it is one of those. So kind of to your point, Nate, where you said I can see why this hit.
Yep.
In the theater, seeing that movie.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Holy shit!
Such a fun experience.
And it was there were scary parts.
Sure.
I'm not saying,
but
I can understand the why
wave,
what you guys
like
are
the
talking
wave
about.
of emotion. You know,
seeing it. It seems like a film that it would be a memorable experience to see with others.
packed house.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this, what was fun for me too, was because we saw it so early, like before it became this huge thing. By the time it came out, which was like months later, I was like so excited. I was like telling my parents, I was like, you guys have to go see
You
this
have to
movie.
see
Like
this
this is
movie.
going to be so much fun. So yeah.
So very quickly, my movie this week was Frankenweenie
You're
that I
welcome.
was supposed to watch,
You're welcome.
and it was adorable.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah, Brad kind of seemed to be
It's-
like talking crap about it.
It's
but
okay. I
thought it was actually
No,
really
it's
good.
really good.
No, I think it's charming. Like I just don't love it. It's like for me, like the best stop motion movies. Like I love Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Coraline. I love Paranorman.
Paranorman's actually kind of scary, I think.
It is, yeah. But like there's something about Frankenweenie where just like this was at a point where like I'd kind of like lost my, you know, admiration and like enjoyment of a lot of Tim Burton stuff, and this felt like it was just roughly fine. I felt like there were other movies that did it a little bit better before.
Which one did you like better out of the two that you watched?
Well, I watched 3.
Oh, okay.
I watched the original Frankenweenie,
Okay.
the short film?
which is a 27-minute film.
Okay.
And so I kind of agree with both of you about Frankenweenie. Like, I really enjoyed the film. But then I also think that for Tim Burton, this is super derivative from the original.
Yeah.
Like, the 27-minute version he does shot for shot. It's lazy.
I didn't know there was a
But Grant-
27-minute video. Yeah, I didn't know that there
it's
was.
a live action short film that he made.
I didn't know that.
With
yeah.
Daniel Stern as the father
No
and
way.
Shelley Long as the mother.
Yeah,
I
and,
did- I
a
didn't
real
know
dog as
And a real
Frankenweenie.
dog. And so I get there's homage things that you can do, but I mean, he just basically took the scenes shot for shot and just did it in the movie. And that's fine. But
Granted, there's a little more artistry when it comes to stop motion animation.
there
you know?
absolutely is. But like the storyboard was already given to him. Like he didn't have to do much work there because it was literally a
Who
shot
made
for
the
shot
first
remake.
one?
Tim Burton.
Well, then, I mean,
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. Never mind. I thought he was taking somebody else's.
Oh no, that was his short.
Oh, that was his short. Okay,
Yeah.
then I let me just.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm so sorry. That I'm talking shit. I really thought he just like they gave him. It's like, hey, remake this
I'm
in
like,
your,
is it
in your
his?
style.
Like he gets. He
I
gets
really
to
thought.
do what he
I'm like,
wants
Jesus,
with
you're just
it.
fucking lazy. What are you doing? I am so. I totally retract everything I just said.
That's what you're like.
hilarious.
It was a shot. Of course it was. It was his
I'm
film.
so sorry.
I was gonna say because I was gonna partially agree with you and being like, yeah, that's fair. I was like, but like it's also like his movie and idea, so of course he's gonna translate it to stop
that's
motion animation.
I just feel like they tapped him to be like, hey, this short that we found, Burton-esque it up and make it a thing.
That's funny.
Okay. Well, so yeah, then I side more with Brad. It's a good movie. Or sorry, more with Nate. It's a good movie, and less with Brad. It thinks it's a bad movie.
I don't think it's a bad movie. I just
Well, you said it's a bad movie.
No,
I
but
think
you
it-
do this, Brad. You do this where it's like I don't think it's a bad movie.
Negative
but,
right off the top, and then like, well, I didn't really say that.
But here are all
You
the
did.
things I hate about it, and it's a laundry list.
no, I don't.
and it hurts my feelings every time.
There are things that frustrate me about it because it came at a time when I wasn't as impressed with Tim Burton's filmmaking anymore, and it's a very straightforward Tim Burton macabre
But the
kind of
movie exists
movie.
outside of that one time in your life. So have you seen it since?
I haven't seen it since I saw it the first time.
Well, watch it again and let us know.
And I didn't see it new. I saw it with my kids. We were looking for a Halloween film for, kids kind of thing. And I kind of, like Ben, I found it endearing. I thought it was cute. I thought it was...
I also thought that they needed...
And I love dogs.
They needed an antagonist, and so the neighbor character is kind of that, but not really. The real antagonist is the jealousy of the school children who also want to win first prize at the science fair and figure like using his idea of bringing a dog back to life, that'll be our way in too as well.
Yeah.
They kind of turn on him when originally it's very supportive. And then, so it really is kind of a story about how, everybody feels bad for you until they can get something from you. And then they'll just try to use you.
Yep.
That's the darker theme of the film. And it's really disturbing.
Yeah.
So that was good.
It's decent.
Yeah. Did you watch anything else this week, Brad?
Well, I watched the movie that you assigned to me.
Oh, did we not talk about that yet?
No, because
Nate, did you watch anything else this week?
No.
Okay, Brad, back to you.
So the movie that you assigned to me, Ben, was Relic, a movie that I actually hadn't even heard of until you told me about it. And so this is a movie that stars Emily Mortimer. She's a daughter who has been called upon by her family to go check on their elderly mother, because she hasn't been picking up the phone, and they're worried about her. So her and her daughter, who seems like she's like a 20-something person, kind of probably, go to this house that's kind of in the middle of nowhere, not like totally isolated, but it's a rural kind of setting a little bit. They have some neighbors nearby, but it's not like a normal suburban neighborhood. And so they get there, and the mother is nowhere to be found. And they have no idea where she is. And so she's gone for a few days, and then all of a sudden she's back. But she's not quite herself. And it goes on from there, where weird things are happening in the house, and she's behaving weird. Feels a little bit like The Visit in a way, because you think that she kind of has some kind of sundowners. But there is a little bit more to it than that. And it's really what it boils down to is it's just this kind of similar to Silent House in the way that movie serves as a metaphor for the trauma of sexual assault and things like that. This movie serves as the horror is a metaphor basically for aging and dealing with like your parents getting older and not being really who they used to be anymore.
But there's a scene in that film where that was jarring to me that I remember, and it's not really a spoiler, but the old lady picks at her face.
Yes.
With a knife, I think.
She's poking at her face with a knife.
And it's just like taking the skin away, and she just isn't herself. And you're just...
And similarly, she has like this like big bruise on her chest that kind of turns into this like gaping hole that she like tears at.
Yeah, it's just a very self-injurious behavior. Yeah. And it's crazy.
Was she on meth?
Not even once.
Yeah, not even once. But no, it's so it's a pretty good movie too. It's good.
It's good.
It's good. It's pretty basic as far as like the kind of horror it offers. And
it's better than good, Brad or Nate.
It's got a great Rotten Tomatoes rating.
It's great.
It is pretty good.
What do you think that a Rotten Tomatoes score is, Brad?
74.
It's 92%.
It is 92.
Is it really? Mm-hmm. How many reviews?
4. That math does not work out, by the way.
It's just Ben.
We're creating false accounts like watch Relic, watch
230 reviews.
Oh, that's pretty good then. Yeah, that's very impressive. But yeah, no, I do think it's a good movie. For me, it borders on the familiar though. Like it's not doing anything earth-shattering, except I do appreciate that the horror itself is not something that necessarily needs to be defeated, and the way it handles the horror itself is different. I like that about different than what you expect.
Exactly. Tell me if you agree with this, because this kind of sounds like what you're saying. Justin Chang, speaking on Fresh Air, said there are no shocking twists or contrivances in store in Relic, kind of what you're saying, and not a lot of gore either, but it does excel at mining dread and tension from ordinary conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
So that seems like,
accurate,
that seems like
it does a very good job of creating an unsettling vibe throughout the entire movie, especially when it comes to the sound design and the soundtrack. And it's very unnerving.
You already mentioned it though. The Visit, M. Night Shyamalan, is an incredible film. I really love that movie. I'm a huge fan of that film. So if you haven't, it's kind of went under the radar because it was at the time when M. Night was not a household name anymore. He had fallen off.
Well, it's not that he wasn't a household name.
Sorry, he wasn't known for making great films anymore.
Yeah.
But it was a real return to form for him, and you should watch The
Funnily
Visit.
enough, a movie that has a found footage element to it as well.
Yeah, it's really solid. I mean, Bailey and I watched that film, and we thought, fuck, is that was M. Night Shyamalan? Man,
Yeah.
what a great.
It's supremely creepy.
It really is good.
So yeah, and I will talk about some other stuff real quick, just
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
I have been on a run of seeing some new movies because I've been attending the
You saw,
Chicago
like,
International
3
Film
movies
Festival.
in a day, didn't you?
I did, and 2 of them weren't even movies that I saw for the festival. I just went out of my way to see them because I wanted to. But so I started off by seeing a couple press screenings last week.
The Lego movie.
I watched the Lego movie. I hadn't seen it yet. But no, so I watched a South Korean movie by Park Chan-wook called Decision to Leave. And it is this mystery, romance, thriller hybrid, essentially. And honestly, I don't even really want to tell you what it's about because for me, this was one of those rare opportunities I had where I hadn't watched a trailer. I didn't read anything about it. I just knew that it was a movie that was getting acclaim and people were saying it was very good. And I respect Park Chan-wook's reputation as a filmmaker.
What else has he done?
So he did the original Old Boy, which was remade by Spike Lee, obviously. But then he also did The Handmaiden, which was a big one. Stoker, which was his like kind of foray into American film, which was fine. But then like he's responsible for the Vengeance trilogy too, which is like Lady Vengeance and that kind of thing. So
Was Stoker a Dracula film?
it's a vampire movie, yeah.
I mean, I assumed, but
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. But anyway, so this movie it's just very good. The performances in it are amazing. It's this movie that's kind of like it has this very seductive energy to it. And it's like the way it mixes mystery with romance and like a little bit of like intrigue, and it's also like somewhat dark and twisted too, and like the story that unfolds and what it's really about. So it's like it kind of has the same. I don't want to say you should go into it with expectations as high as something like Parasite, but it is kind of on par with that of like if you just kind of let the story unfold over you and like don't go in knowing as little as possible, like you'll be just really like caught up in it, and the story is very compelling, and it's great to watch.
Decision to Leave. I'll
Decision
make a note
to
of it.
Leave.
All right. What else?
And then I also watched Causeway, which is Jennifer Lawrence's new movie. It is
boy.
kind of a big return for her.
Listeners might not know this, but
yeah, it's Brad's
Brady
wife.
has a little bit of a crush on.
I do love me some Jennifer Lawrence. And this was kind of her. I don't want to say comeback, but like she took a break after having a pretty big run in the spotlight as far as like awards and doing a ton of movies back to back. And so
Does she have a kid or something?
She did have a kid as
Okay,
well. Yeah. And so she's back with this movie called Causeway. And it is a movie that's coming to Apple TV Plus later this year. And it's a very understated performance from her. It's not big flashy. It's not melodrama, but it has the story that you would expect from like a Sundance style movie where she plays this woman who has come home after sustaining an injury in Afghanistan while she's doing a tour of duty. And she has to like recover and regain her mobility and her motor skills. And she returns back home to New Orleans to kind of like get her head on straight and still continue rehabilitating her mind and her body. And she meets Brian Tyree Henry, this auto mechanic, and they strike up this unlikely friendship. And it's the kind of thing where like you expect it to turn into, this like romance between them, but it's not that at all. It really is just a friendship. And both of their performances are just they're understated, where they're not like there aren't these big blow up scenes where they get into an argument or have something like that. It's a very straightforward kind of drama that just is quiet and contemplative, and she's fantastic in it. Brian Tyree Henry, who has like really become one of my
I was say I
favorite
feel like
actors recently.
he's under heralded,
Yeah.
right? Because I
And
think
he's great.
so great on
really
so many
is.
films, and I think he should be getting more attention.
Yeah. So and they're both really good in this movie, and I just I really appreciated it for not going for like the easy melodrama that you usually see in movies like this.
Is it made to be an award season film, or
That's what they're hoping for because it
Okay.
doesn't come out until I think early November.
December 29th. It's really right before the calendar year.
But yeah,
ends.
early November I think is when it comes out on Apple TV Plus, and I think it also has a limited theatrical run. Maybe.
Okay.
But yeah. And then I also went out of my way to see Tar, which is the new movie starring Cate Blanchett.
yes? How is that?
It is amazing.
I saw her
I've
on
never heard of this.
Colbert.
What is this?
I saw her on Colbert,
Yeah.
and I had heard nothing about the film, but she talked about it, and immediately, I kind of have a crush on Cate Blanchett. I mean, she's getting older.
How could
I know
you
this,
not?
Yeah.
but I'm just enraptured with her. She's
Yes.
so charismatic
She's
and
just- yeah.
lovely and like classy.
She's kind of a dynamo. Like,
yeah,
you
and
kind
she
of want
talked
to be
about the
around
film,
her.
and I thought I don't even know much about it, and I want to see this.
So, and this was another one that what I knew about it was that again it had been acclaimed at the festivals where it had played, and I knew that she played a conductor of an orchestra, a revered one, but that's all I really knew about it. So I went into it having not seen the trailer and just knowing that it was going to be great. And man, this is definitely one of those movies where it's like one of Cate Blanchett's best performances, which is saying something because she doesn't give bad performances, but she's amazing in this. And the movie itself is fantastic too. It's on the longer side. It's almost 3 hours long. It's like 2 hours and 40 some minutes. And it is, I don't want to say it's a slow burn because I never felt like it was slow, but
I'm not doing a 3 hour slow burn.
But it is a movie that does gradually
move
build
like Tar.
It's a movie that gradually builds in its escalation of what happens because the movie itself follows this woman who is this renowned and beloved orchestra conductor, like a genius level kind of composer and conductor. And basically a fall from grace, from being this great person to like completely ruining her life. And she's great in it. There's this great suspense that runs through it. The writing is spectacular. Like there's dialogue in here that is just crackling and like just it's like Sorkin level like good. But yeah, I was so impressed by it.
It got a 6-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Fest.
Here's the thing I'll say about standing ovations. Fuck them. I can't stand hearing about standing ovations.
Charlie Chaplin. It
is funny though.
It speaks to the fact that you just don't respect history.
The standing ovations at film festivals are such a stupid circle jerk. And
I was just saying because I've wondered that before, where people are like an 11-minute standing ovation. I'm like, who's timing it?
Also, I'm sorry, I've clapped at concerts before, and after about 30 seconds, your hands hurt. Yeah. So 11 minutes, go fuck yourself.
And I'm a man. I'm a man.
Well, I have weak hands, but I don't love the fact that like you're saying that you're telling me that people literally went like and slapped their palms together.
Well,
for 11 minutes.
Some of them get quiet, and then other ones pick it up and it gets louder, and then the ones who are quiet are like, oh, okay, we're back to doing the stronger class.
You really think that that's what it is? It's like the goddamn wave at a baseball stadium?
No, honestly,
it just goes around?
Partially, the way that it works is because, a lot of the clapping they just do throughout the credits because it's people who are not only clapping for the movie, but it's people who worked on the movie, clapping for themselves, clapping for the production company, clapping for the people who are in attendance. Like,
didn't The Whale get like a 12-minute standing ovation?
Yeah, because the credits were 12 minutes.
They're not, but it is because like Brendan Fraser was there, and so they're paying respect by clapping not only at him but the movie. Every
Marvel movie has a 37-minute standing ovation, and here's why.
The credits are 37
minutes long.
But no, there is some of it where people just do clap through the credits, and it's just kind of like a festival etiquette, especially at stuff like the Venice Film Festival or Cannes.
If a lot of industry people that worked on that movie are there, and especially if the actor or director are there.
Yeah. And I know that because it happens at Sundance too. You know, like there's not only is there whooping and cheering during the production logos in the beginning because everyone's there and they're like, "Woo, there's our Sorlin Circle and the tiger jumping through it."
Working title.
But then also the credits, you clap for the director and the stars when it does the cast listing and all that shit. So,
what's your favorite logo?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, more recently, one of my favorites is
of production companies.
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. What's your favorite production company logo?
Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg's company, Point Grey Productions.
The sketch.
Well, but they change it depending on the movie that they're doing.
Oh, okay.
And so I like that they do that.
That's cool. I like the is it the Judd Apatow with the coffee and the gun?
No, that's Gary Sanchez Productions.
I like that one.
And they changed it because
the gun.
Yeah, because Adam McKay is definitely someone who pays attention to that, and they changed it to a whip now.
Okay. No, I still like that one. Classically, I like Orion.
Oh, Orion's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, classically.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sentimental a little bit about the DreamWorks animation, the
sure.
the fish,
the boy on the D.
Yeah, that one's
good.
Kind of nice one. Too.
Because that was a DreamWorks SKG, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know what the SKG stands for?
Spielberg.
Kilimanjaro.
No, I can get this. SKG. Spielberg something in Geller?
No, Spielberg, Katzenberg,
Geller.
and Geffen.
Geller.
Monica
Geller.
Ross Geller.
Listen, I'm so happy that I knew it was Spielberg.
Yep.
That's all.
That's good. You got the most famous filmmaker.
Listen.
Ever.
I didn't say Scorsese. I said Spielberg.
I don't know if you guys heard Scorsese.
He's not great. Anyway, all right. What do we got? Trailers.
Okay,
more. You watch more movies
real quick.
I literally saw 19 movies this week.
What was the pace of Tar? Was it like Tar?
I saw Don't Worry, Darling. It's fine. It is.
Wait, it's fine because Is it fine?
It's fine. It's fine. It is an average.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine.
It is a perfectly average movie. It is a story
average.
familiar that you've seen before. It is not worth all of the fucking drama that came out of this movie.
Did that factor in?
No, that's the thing. Is like because first for
Did
me,
you sit down going, "This better be fucking good."
No,
because
not at all. Because and especially because I had already heard long before there was ever any talk in the press about drama. One of the writers at Slash Film attended an early like test screening of it when she was still showing it to people to get like reactions and stuff like that. And so, when she came back, she was like, "Yeah, this movie's fine." So my expectations were already like, "Oh, this is going to be an okay movie," and the drama did nothing to like impact what I thought about it. If anything, I probably ended up liking it more than people who got caught up in the drama because I think Florence Pugh is great in the movie. I think Harry Styles is very good in the movie. I think Chris Pine is great in the movie. But the movie itself doesn't do anything groundbreaking with the kind of story it's telling. Once you figure out what's going on,
sure,
you're like, "Oh, I've seen this before. That's all this is."
Yeah,
like,
it was Knives Out.
So yeah, fine. And then you brought up The Whale. I saw The Whale on Saturday evening. And let me say that the movie is not as good as the performance that Brendan Fraser gives. The performance that Brendan Fraser gives is one of the best in his career.
Duly, like he's getting a lot of praise for it. Well worth it.
Well worth it. The hype is real. Believe the hype that Brendan Fraser is amazing in this movie. The movie around him, as often is the case with Darren Aronofsky movies, a mixed bag of like how the story that he's telling and what he wants to say. Yeah. He has a fascination with religion that I don't entirely understand, like what he's trying to do with it, with the stories that he's trying to tell. But
Does it feel like he's trying to force?
Not that he's forcing it. It's more fascinating because I'm not entirely sure what
he's trying to
what he's trying to do with it. Because like when you look at movies like Noah and The Fountain, and stuff like that, it's really interesting.
Mother, right?
Mother's another one. Yeah. So the movie itself has some compelling aspects to it. I didn't come away disliking it, but the movie just felt a little bit disjointed to me. And
so will Brendan Fraser be up for Academy?
100%. Yeah. And I would be surprised if he didn't win.
Yeah.
And same with Kate Blanchett and Tar.
How great would that be, though? I mean,
incredible.
Because again, he's had a lot taken from him from the industry. These kind of things.
What's especially interesting too is that Darren Aronofsky didn't look at Brendan Fraser because he thought, "Oh, this will be a great comeback for Brendan Fraser."
Yeah,
he hadn't even really like seen a lot of Brendan Fraser's work from the '90s. Like he hadn't seen School Ties. He hadn't seen George of the Jungle or any of the things.
Man or anything.
Yeah, he knew some things, but like he had a meeting with Brendan Fraser and like he's like, honestly, I could tell that this was like he was hungry for a part like this. And like we did just like really jibed and like I felt like he was the right person for it.
Man, if they bring back him in a fourth Mummy movie now, just because he gets because now Hollywood's back on his side for whatever reason. They should have been the whole time, but whatever. I cannot tell you how excited so many of my friends would be about that.
It would be awesome.
It would be incredible.
Yeah.
They should make a Batwoman or Batgirl film with him in it.
Cool.
For those of you that don't know,
I was hoping you would let me do it. Cool.
There's a Batgirl movie that they did make, and he was supposed to be in as the villain, but now it's not coming out.
Fair enough. All right. So what do we do next? Let's talk trailers.
Hey, did you watch Halloween Ends?
What? Why would I do that?
Because it just came out?
No. Brett, I watched the movies I'm assigned to watch, and then I also watched the short Frankenweenie movie, and I opened an arcade. Okay. I was very busy.
The last movie...
And he thought that the Frankenweenie movie...
the original Frankenweenie movie wasn't made by Tim Burton.
I didn't know.
And he was mad about it.
I was mad. I was like,
wow, he just stole some other filmmakers' shots and ideas?
Really derivative Tim Burton.
And the reason I have that opinion of him is because Nightmare Before Christmas isn't really a Tim Burton film.
But that's not his fault.
I know, that's just people saying
it's just people being stupid.
What do you mean?
Like he doesn't
say it.
He doesn't come out and say like this is my movie. Like it's called Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas because he produced it. In the same way that there's movies that say Steven Spielberg presents. People just don't understand that Tim Burton didn't direct that movie because it feels so tied into his style. So they just don't know that Henry Selick directed Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton didn't like position it so that everyone like thinks that he directed it. Let's just
no, he did.
I mean, the shitty thing about it is that Henry Selick doesn't really get much money when it comes to the royalties for Nightmare Before Christmas merchandise.
Right.
So that's kind of shitty. But anyway, I watched Halloween Ends, and here's if you've paid attention to any of the online chatter, you'll see that this is a divisive movie, and for good reason. And it does something completely unexpected from the rest of the Halloween franchise.
It actually kills Michael Myers.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying because it's Halloween Ends, and that's not even really a spoiler. If you didn't think Michael Myers was going to die at the end of this movie, I don't know what to tell you.
What?
But honestly, the story it tells is not your prototypical Halloween movie. It takes some big swings and does some really bold things. And in the moment while I was watching it, I thought it was weird, and I wasn't really like super into it, but I was very like fascinated and intrigued by it, and I honestly haven't been able to stop thinking about it since I saw them.
What?
Yeah, for real. It does some very strange things and stuff that is just is not typical of the Halloween franchise, and because of that, it's been getting praise from people who love the franchise and like those kinds of things. For me, I didn't quite feel enamored by it when I saw it, but I keep thinking about it, and like honestly, the more I've thought about it, I've been warming up to it a little bit. And so what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to watch it again because I want to see it.
Wow.
I want to see it now that the surprise has worn off and like the novelty of sitting there and being like, what the fuck is going
Brett,
on?
I'm
gonna see it again.
What is it like?
And I'm getting the logo tattooed on my butt.
What is it like to have just 2 extra hours?
See, here's the thing. I love that you sit there and you say like, what's it like to have 2 extra hours? When I'm watching movies, I'm working. Whether you think I am or not,
but
because I'm not sitting there
watching Halloween Ends again. Do you really need to?
Yeah, because that's the thing is I'm looking at it with a different perspective and analyzing it from in a different way because I now know the story and I'm looking at it and I'm appreciating it for what they're trying to do rather than judging it on immediately what I've seen. And there's been times where I've come to appreciate certain movies and like people at large have, where movies were unappreciated at the time they come out. And then 10 years down the road, they're reassessed and people like them more.
So watch it in 10 years.
So no, but in this case, as I've been thinking about it, because because like I said,
now I have to watch this.
It does enough weird and new things that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. I'm trying to reconcile whether or not I don't like it,
but
or whether
I saw
or not
your Twitter
do.
post about like that you posted your ranking of the Halloween movies, and you put this one behind Halloween Kills.
Yes, and that was before. But I'm still thinking about it, and I might reassess that.
Are you sure it's not just you're lonely?
I mean, my girlfriend has been gone for months, so
you're like, I'm gonna watch Halloween Kills again. I'm like, okay, well, but that's actually on the checklist right now, or Halloween Ends again. That's on the checklist of depression symptoms that we need to check on your friends.
But no, I do want to rewatch it, and it's not free time. Like I'm doing this because like as a way of like sharpening my perspective on this movie and really trying to reconcile how I feel about it.
There was something about the film that's there that you still can't put your finger on. That has resonated with you longer than it should have.
Yeah, exactly. And I especially because I've been reading what people like Slash Film's chief film critic Chris Evangelista, who loved this, and I anticipated he would, because he does like things like this. And after hearing like him talk about certain things and reading what some other people have written, it has helped me like kind of reconsider and appreciate aspects that I otherwise might have thought were a detriment to the movie, but I think might actually make it better than it initially seemed.
Let's talk about some trailers pretty quickly here, because I know we've been talking about a lot of stuff.
Speaking of Halloween Ends, this was a trailer that I saw in theaters, and it wasn't available online yet, and it came out online the next day. It's the trailer for the reboot of House Party.
Hey-o!
If you would have told me that there was a reboot of House Party and I needed to watch the trailer, which you did, I would have been like, okay. And now I did that. I was like, okay. I watched it. Holy fucking shit. That's how you make a trailer.
Seriously,
it looks so good.
It looks great.
It looks amazing.
I was flabbergasted by how good this looked. I was sitting there watching the trailer in theaters to be like, wow.
I laughed out loud multiple times, and not just like small laughs. You were there. I was
you could fall
laughing.
Yes.
Yeah, it really did.
It's very funny. It's very, very funny. I am very excited to see how this turns out because it seems like it's going to be great.
In this reboot, they are basically, instead of throwing a house party anywhere, they are throwing a house party at LeBron James's home. And LeBron James produced the film, so then he has a cameo as a hologram in the film, which makes it meta as hell. And he's poking fun at himself so much. He's poking so much fun at himself. It's so fun to watch that.
Yeah,
you get lost in that little moment. it makes it real. It makes the film mean more.
I'm a sucker for buddy comedies. Like just guys that love each other that also just have good comedy, like relationships. And it looks like that's what's going to be. Like these two just seem to have the chemistry. It doesn't have a ton of people in it, right? The director is the director of the Old Town or the Lil Nas X music video. He's not done a lot of stuff.
Well, that video.
Oh, it's a great video.
He directed. You mean the director that directed Chris Rock? Yeah.
The Old Town Road?
Yeah, he was in Old Town. You didn't see the video?
I thought it was the guy with the mullet.
I don't know about that, but Chris Rock is in the video for Lil Nas X's Old Town Road.
I'll have to rewatch it.
Wow.
But so it's him. The actors, I honestly didn't know a lot about. So it's a film that you're not going to see because of who's made it, who's in it, these kind of things. But when you watch the trailer,
how do you not want to go see that film?
I really want to see this film.
Yeah, it looks silly as hell. A little bit of like Weekend at Bernie's vibes. A little bit with like them just like having this crazy house that they get to play in and being best friends. It's just really cool.
Yeah. And Kid and Play, who were the stars of the original House Party, famously hip hop artists, do have a very quick cameo.
I had to pause it. I'm like, everyone's like, did you see Kid and Play?
Yeah.
No,
it's super
because
quick.
when you see it, you're going to be like, oh, we're getting a lot older.
Yeah, for 100%. But yeah, this looks very funny. I'm now very excited to see this. This was originally supposed to be an HBO Max movie, and then they were like, no, we're going to put this in theaters. So good choice. Because you don't see many comedies making that jump these days.
Kid and Play, now known as Man and Sit.
And it comes out January 13th.
Yes.
Bad joke.
Next year. It was.
What's the next one?
And then we also watched the trailer for Megan, or M3gan.
Mithrigan.
Oh my gosh. This
what the
movie
fuck was this?
looks so bonkers.
That's some interesting dancing.
Oh, thank you. I said the same thing. So, Brad, please explain what this trailer is first, and then let me talk about the dancing.
It freaked me out, by the way, guys. This trailer freaked
me the fuck out.
Yeah, so the movie is a familiar premise. Allison Williams stars in this movie, and her niece, I think it is. Her parents have just died, and so she's taking care of her. And as a way to help cope with it, she introduces her to this android that she has created with the hope of comforting children like her who have lost family members. And it's this not quite lifelike, but still very advanced android.
And very much what Elon Musk is trying to build.
It is a very important point here that the aunt built the robot.
Yes.
And it's not just one she bought.
Right. She's the creator of this robot, so she knows a lot about it and how to operate it and that kind of thing. And so she introduces the kid to the robot. They become very good friends. And of course, the robot becomes fiercely protective of this little girl, and
in a very psychopathic way.
Yeah, we have a very a Child's Play kind of scenario here.
Absolutely.
It did remind me a little bit of Child's Play.
Of course, how could it not?
But it has this flair
because
it is.
It reminds you of like the Fortnite dances that they do.
I mean, there is that to it, but it also comes, from a story by James Wan, and it has some Malignant vibes to it.
Oh, for sure.
Where it's definitely a more outlandish, horror, where it's kind of funny while still being unsettling, and it really shoots for the moon.
Yeah, it goes crazy.
It's the same writer, right, of both films?
James Wan?
No, Akilah Cooper.
Yeah. James Wan did the story, and then she wrote the screenplay, and yes, she also wrote Malignant.
Yep.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense because this is like if Malignant was Child's Play.
Yep.
Like that's what this is. It's crazy. The android, clearly it learns and develops. And so originally the dancing that it does is just stilted.
And the dancing is like 2/3 of the way through the trailer.
Yep.
It's already freaky. And then the dancing gets there and you're like, I don't know what to do with this.
But then when it cuts to her dancing in the hallway and it's very fluid and it's much better, it's somehow worse.
Oh,
like it's so much more creepy.
It's gonna fill my nightmares.
The uncanny valley aspect of it honestly might give me nightmares. Freaking creepy.
These are the things, that scare me.
Holy hell!
I don't like them.
I cannot wait to see. I laughed and I said, "What the hell?" or "What the fuck?" or "What the shit?" like 9 times watching this trailer. It looks bonkers.
And the use of the Taylor Swift song in this trailer is particularly creepy as well.
So good.
So yeah,
man, I'm happy with this. When's it come out?
Megan comes out,
And then does it stream or will it be in the theaters?
It's coming to the theaters.
it's coming to theaters, and it will be released on a date that I am looking at on this profile if I can get it up properly.
It's true that
Just
you do
like
have a problem
my
getting it
wiener.
up properly.
It comes
Also,
out.
don't search Megan date.
Actually, it looks like the same weekend as House Party, January 13th, 2023.
I have that written down on my notes.
You son of a bitch.
No. I have it written down. I'm like, I must have copied and pasted that wrong or something.
Oh, like it's the same
So
day.
it's going to be a big competition, whether Megan or the House Party
or
gets your
Megan.
money. You know what? Go see them both, guys.
Yeah, do a double
Hey,
feature.
wait, out of those two, which one would you rather see first?
I think for me personally, you watch House Party first and then you watch Megan after because you end with a horror movie.
Nope. I end with the comedy to
Yeah,
make things right.
I
again.
agree with that.
Really?
Yeah. Why would you go home scared?
I know exactly.
Because, well, typically I would watch the matinee and it would be light out. And so then I think that
Let's see the horror movie first.
Well, no, because then you would take a break and go out and get a soda and it would still be light out and it would be good.
Yeah. So see the horror movie first. Come out, get a refill on your drink while it's still daylight. Go see a comedy. Go home laughing and feeling good
it's
about yourself.
traumatized.
No, I disagree. I think I want to leave the theater creeped out. Like that's the whole goal
Oh,
of a horror
no,
movie.
I don't.
You're just-
I want to leave the theater like emotionally.
Really? I'm being kind of serious here. Like I like leaving with that. Oh, that's what a horror movie does to you.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind that sometimes, but like if given a choice, I'll see the comedy as the second movie.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
want to come home laughing and feeling
Fair,
good.
guys.
My endorphins are flaring for a good reason.
What's an endorphin?
It's like a porpoise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
They're only down in Florida.
All right, guys, let's talk about a question before we end here.
Is this going to be a long one or a short one?
Let's do a short conversation. We don't have that much time left. All right, let's talk. We've talked about in the previous episodes, what's the film that's made you cry the most? We got really sad together. We cuddled together. Let's talk about what is the film that has made you laugh more than any other film, and that probably if you watch right now, it'd still make you laugh.
Mm-hmm. I've got two answers in
Just locked and loaded.
Locked and loaded.
Wow.
Because I'd have to think about this.
No, because I specifically remember seeing these two movies and how hard I laughed at them.
Is it as a child? Or,
No,
okay.
these are more recent movies, like that comedies I saw as an adult.
All right, go for it.
The first one is Tropic Thunder. Every single moment with Tom Cruise in this movie sent me into a laughing, hysterical fit. Especially the part that I laughed the hardest at is when Tom Cruise is talking to the drug
Literally take 2 steps back and literally fuck your face.
Don't
Right?
ruin.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Fuck
but
your-
don't.
fuck
Yeah, but
your
don't
own
ruin
face?
it. Is he's talking to him and he
Fuck your
says,
face?
he's like, okay, Flaming Dragon, fuck face. Why don't you take a step back and literally fuck your own face? And just the intensity and the seriousness with which Tom Cruise delivers the lines, and because of the way he looks in all of that makeup, like just a complete Hollywood douchebag, I lost my mind. I was
right after that, doesn't it? Diet Coke. And they
I was
bring him one?
laughing. So, no, he hangs up the phone and he goes, "We don't negotiate with terrorists."
Perfect.
I laughed. I will always remember that as one of the hardest times to laugh. The other time, and this was more of a consistent, ongoing like laughter. This is a movie that I love, that I wish got more attention, and any opportunity I get, I will make sure to show it to people. And that's the movie They Came Together, which is a romantic comedy parody that is directed by David Wayne. It stars Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd, and it is a straight up spoof of movies like You've Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle, primarily romantic comedies that take place in New York for the most part. And it's like Airplane or The Naked Gun or Young Frankenstein. It like does straight up parody moments of all the cliches in romantic comedies. The hardest that I laugh in this movie is there's a moment where Paul Rudd is down on his luck. He's broken up with his fiance, and he's been splashed by a taxi driving by on a puddle, and he goes into this bar, and the bartender says, he's like, "Well, you've had a rough day." And he's like, "Yeah, tell me about it." He's like, "Well, you came in here looking like crap, and you haven't said very much." You can say that again. "Well, you came in here looking like crap, and you haven't said very much." "Yeah, tell me about it." This goes on for like 7 or 8 back and forths of saying the same lines. And it's the kind of thing where it's hilarious when it starts, and then you're like, okay, we're done with this joke. And then it keeps going.
It's very David Letterman.
Yeah, and I laughed so hard as it continued. And I'll remember this too, because I went to the Sundance premiere for this movie, and I had never heard an entire theater roaring with laughter so consistently throughout the premiere of this movie. And I love this movie to pieces. I watched it so many times with so many people, and I love watching people like discover and just laugh at this movie.
Nate?
This is a really tough question because I love comedies. I just genuinely love comedies. I went through a season of depression where I only watched comedies because it was the only thing that brought kind of joy in a moment. So there's a lot I could put on there. I feel tension though about, like, I feel like I should pick an older movie, an Airplane or something like that, because they did make me laugh. But really not the most that I've ever laughed, probably. Maybe if I was an adult when some of these movies came out, I would probably have laughed harder. There are other films that certainly I laughed at when I was in middle school, that Tommy Boy, these kind of things that I laughed so hard at because they met my humor at the time. They were quintessential middle school boy movies, right? Made by adults. But I probably would pick, if I had to pick a film that I've laughed the most at, that I've watched over and over again, that still makes me laugh every time I see it, it would probably be Superbad.
Good choice.
I laugh at that film, and the jokes don't get old to me. I still laugh because it's not just comedy about jokes. It's situations, and the situations get me to laugh every time. It could be as simple as, middle school or their high school boys. And I was as juvenile in high school as well, right? And so it kind of brings you back to your juvenile kind of behaviors.
Everyone knew people like this, had friends like this in high school. Like it just works so well as characters that like you universally like identify and recognize.
And I had friends that I genuinely, of course we wouldn't say it at the time, I genuinely loved. Like they love each other. Like when we went to college, we got really sad because we weren't going to be together anymore. And so like that whole dynamic I get. The dynamic of going out and not knowing what you're going to do, but knowing that by the end of the night, and it might not even have anything to do with alcohol at the time, but at the end of the night, there's going to be shenanigans and you're going to have a blast. I love that film. I laugh so hard at it. The other one that I would maybe include as part, maybe could include in there that I laugh almost equally as amount is Bridesmaids. I think Bridesmaids is hilarious.
Bridesmaids was close for being one of the movies that I laughed hardest.
So I would maybe that would be probably 2 for me, but that is a film that, again, so much comedy comes at you constantly, but it's not slapstick as much. There is actually a little slapstick in there, but
she shits in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's
Spoiler alert, bud.
It happens. You said that we can only do it at the end of the movie, and let's be honest, that happens pretty early on.
But that's a character-defining moment where like there's a real turn for the characters.
Okay, easy.
And it's one of those things though where that whole thing for 5 minutes is one laugh after another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And every character is doing something. In that scene specifically you're talking about, that is hilarious. Every character is doing something, and it's just so well written, so well performed. Like I said, I feel a little ridiculous picking movies probably that are newer than they should be.
No, I'm going to do the same thing.
But I would say those probably too.
And honestly, I think it's probably easier to pick those more recent movies because when you're older, your sense of humor is more refined. You understand different kinds of jokes. And honestly, I would argue that most of the time it's the R-rated comedies when you're adult that usually do get you and hit you harder because the jokes are more plentiful because you don't have to like censor yourself. And that's not to say jokes are only funny when they're raunchy, but typically the comedies that I love are usually the ones that are R-rated, whether it's because of language or content,
And again, not that they're old, but that film is 11, 12 years old now. I think it was made in 2011. Bridesmaids was. I'm still laughing at it as hard as I did. I don't laugh at Billy Madison as hard as I did in middle school. It's still super funny.
There's a lot of scenes that are funny, but it's dated.
Dumb and Dumber, same way.
I will say I actually still laugh pretty consistently at Happy Gilmore.
Yep, I'd probably laugh harder at that one than I did even when I was younger.
Me too.
Was when I was a kid. That was the movie where like I had a fit of laughter when the kid goes into the batting cage and gets hit with the ball, just because the sound he makes is just perfect. And also when he loses his mind on the clown.
And then
golf course.
I laughed at those exact things, right? And then when I got a little older and I saw it's Jim Downey as the host of the game show, and he says that's a very iconic line.
Oh yeah,
we are all now stupider or whatever, dumber for hearing that answer. I remember as an adult laughing so hard at that and I missed that as a kid. Of course, that's the most boring part of the movie when you're a kid.
Yeah,
nobody's getting hit in the balls,
and you also appreciate more. Like, there's jokes that like they're funny for a different reason when you're younger, and they're funnier when you're older. Like when Bradley Whitford gets pushed over the bench and the cuts the kids, and he's like, "Did you see that guy's balls?" It's like, yeah, they were weird looking.
And like the Saigon whore that bit off my nose and I'll turn this up. Good, great, wonderful. Like there's just so much to love about that movie.
Yeah.
All right. So
the Saigon whore thing's from Dirty Work.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
What's the? Oh, so in the you're right. In the bus scene in Happy Gilmore, he has a nose.
Yes.
No, yeah, you're exactly right.
All right. So Ben, what would you pick then?
I'm gonna go with Ghostbusters Afterlife. No. No, I'm not. It's a joke.
Go ahead.
No. I honestly, I'm only gonna go off of the last time I was in the theater, and I remember laughing so hard that I couldn't contain myself, and that was MacGruber. I laughed so utterly. I did a spit take for the last time. I haven't done one since. I was literally drinking a Sprite. I remember I was drinking a Sprite and I was glancing down and I looked up and it was a scene where MacGruber was bent over the desk with his ass hanging out you can fuck me when you, and whatever that scene was, I just remember because I had looked down, I didn't see him take off his pants. And so when I looked up,
little shock too.
I was, and I remember I spit it out. I was one of those people. I was
that whole scene is so funny.
I gotta clean this up. That's all I kept thinking. I'm an adult man and I spit in a theater. Like it was a literal spit take, and it one after another after another. The graveyard scene where he's having sex with a ghost and it's so silly.
Wow.
It's just so goddamn funny.
I always laugh. I love.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
So
it brought tears to my eyes.
The after the funeral, and Powers Booth says, he was like, very touching speech, MacGruber. And he's like, maybe would have used less profanity.
Yeah.
He's like, well, they were fucking great guys, and this is a fucking asshole of a day.
It's just, and Dieter von Kuntz, and just Val Kilmer's great in it.
Just tell me what you want me to fuck.
Exactly. Just tell me what you want me to fuck.
So I did see, as any of our listeners for the SNL podcast, I think as well know that I did not see MacGruber until last 8 months or so. I did not watch the show yet. Did you watch the show, Ben?
Oh no, I tried. I got
show's great.
I got into it.
I know Brad did.
I started watching it. It was one of those things like we all do. I started the first couple episodes. I liked it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch this. And then I just didn't.
Yeah.
And I need to do that because, of course. But yeah, the movie itself, it's right online. Like, it was that or Popstar. Popstar,
oh, man.
Never Stop
Popstar's
Stopping
great.
is
Popstar's
the
great.
other one where I can remember.
We saw Popstar early.
Yeah.
We went to the Alamo Draft House when there was still one up in Kalamazoo. They had like a special screening. Yeah, we cried. We cried laughing. Yeah, we were crying.
I was
laughing.
crying,
and it was all the way through.
Yeah,
like that movie was just non-stop jokes.
I don't remember. I haven't ever been as tired from laughing as I was at MacGruber or at Popstar. So those are kind of
what I loved about Popstar too is I typically go into comedies and be disappointed. I'll laugh, but again, it wasn't as good as I thought it should be. Popstar exceeded my expectations because I went in not expecting to laugh as much as I did. I thought it was going to be fine.
When the bar is low and you're blown away, that's of course.
And I came out just thinking this was just so freaking funny.
And it's the kind of movie that was so funny and so good that like I was genuinely mad that like people didn't go see it and that it bombed at the box office. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
What do you want? What do you people want?
Seriously, this is one of the best comedies of the 21st century, and you're just sleeping on it. Thankfully, I think people.
Is that why you hate people?
It's a big part of it. People don't give comedy the respect it deserves. But no, I do think the movie has found a good sized audience since it has been released on home video and stuff. But yeah, I wish they would have turned out to see it. And honestly, what's super impressive is that Akiva Schaffer, man, he like as many times as he has made comedies that have done shit business at the box office, I am so glad that people keep taking a chance on him and letting him make comedies because like as many times as he's had movies that have not done a profit return, like he should be in director jail forever.
Comedy films just don't do well at the theater anymore, and it's sad to me.
I mean, there was a time when they did. I would say that the early 2000s through
the Anchorman genre.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Yep.
basically
Yep.
Judd
But since
Apatow,
then-
and Adam McKay, and anyone who was doing work with them around that time.
It was like the knocked up Anchorman,
Yep, exactly.
Step Brothers.
That was
40-year-old virgin,
Yeah.
Step Brothers,
But
Wedding
since
Crashers,
then,
role
though,
models.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Even Get Him to the Greek probably did good business back then.
I think it was pretty decent at the
You
time.
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I think that's
And
at
I've
the
actually
tail
never seen
end
that
of
movie.
that is the tail end. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
I've never seen that one actually.
it's good. I like it.
Is it good?
I think it's fun.
I don't think it's as good as Forgetting Sarah
No,
Marshall.
No,
God,
absolutely
God,
not.
yeah,
Forgetting
but-
Sarah Marshall is like an all-time.
Also,
great
by the way,
romantic comedy.
Role Models to me is
Love
super
Role
underrated.
Models.
It's
Agreed.
so good.
That was another movie that I was totally caught off guard by how good it was.
How good it was.
Me and some friends went to. They did a free Universal, like it was like a word of mouth screening where they would go to colleges and show movies early to get like the buzz going on it. And man, we were so surprised by how good it was.
I remember my favorite scene in that film isn't any of the big ones. It's just when he's playing Kiss for the kid, and he's like, "'Cause the gun is his dick."
The love gun is his dick,
And it's just I laughed just hard, just so hard.
Sean William Scott.
He's
is
brilliant.
Hilarious. in
He's
that movie.
fucking great.
That was
Ugh.
made in 2008, and it was one of the first times I got to experience Jane Lynch as well.
Oh, yeah.
who was hilarious in that
Yeah,
film.
you don't bullshit a bullshitter.
So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. If you like this stupid podcast, please rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts: Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Butt Buds, Listen Leader, and the
Earworm.
earbugs. Make sure you just like our Facebook page if you want updates about the show, because we provide so many of them.
And shout out to listener Aaron who commented on our thank you so much for listening, Aaron.
Dude, that made my day. I read that
Yeah.
comment. I was like, oh my God, is this somebody who actually listened to our podcast? Good
And
for
it,
you.
and it was a great answer. Network is fantastic.
Is fucking letter perfect. So
Nate, have
good-
you seen
good for
Network?
I have not.
Oh,
Looks like we've got a
once we
movie
get
for
out of
Nate.
spooky season,
I know. I was just
we're
saying,
gonna-
you
yeah,
want me
sorry.
to do that instead of a horror?
No, November
Yeah.
3rd or whatever. That's going to be your movie.
Guys, I'm going to own you guys for Christmas movies. I'm going to
Oh,
own you.
boy.
In
It's not if I watch them all first.
Good for you. We're going to do it.
What?
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Nah, cheating, eh?